Jeepers, creepers. We got some progress going on this. Not a lot of hands-on, but a lot of brain work. I was talking with this fella named Jacob. His YouTube is 7 Bar Salvage. He's into old Jeeps. He turned me on to a couple other guys about the steering. I don't like this original setup, and a lot of people do a manual Saginaw box conversion. So he said get the parts from a CJ-5, and we're going to follow his tutorial. So I'm working on getting those parts. Other things that have come in are on the bench. This is cool. Firstly, it's a little bit more supply from Summit. It's trickling in. We got an ignition coil. We got, what's this? Oh, throwout bearing and sleeve. I think these are going to be wheel cylinders for brakes. Yep, is it? Brake wheel cylinders. Got a pair of them. What's this crushed box? Ooh, that looks like a carburetor rebuild kit for the stock carburetor.
That looks familiar. I remember a video we did of the carburetor.
And it's not going to fit.
Oh.
So you know what?
Dang.
Through the power of the YouTube community, someone said, why don't you just order one of them Holly carburetors that goes on the Ford Falcon? That'll fit under the hood.
Yay!
But we're not here to talk about that yet. We're going to continue to go through our parts stash. With this throwout bearing and the thing it slides on, I already knew because I had a duplicate one of these. It don't fit. This is from that Toyota setup. So I said, hey, Summit, send us the right one. Ta-da.
Thank you, Summit.
Problem solved. Got a new solenoid for the starter. What's this? Water pump, fresh. And it's interesting. I could already tell what the shape of this box is. Any guess?
It is
A new car.
Huh?
A new car.
Well, give me a second.
I'm giving you a second.
I can think of it's the plate thingamajiggy. I don't know.
The plate thingamajiggy is here.
Okay.
This is the clutch thing. Oh, wait a second.
Yes.
So
I couldn't remember. It was on the tip of my tongue. I knew it had something to do with that.
I mean, big props to Summit. But I had already bought one. So now we got two. So I want you to do some wheelie popping, clutch burning action because we got clutch to spare.
Sweet.
And that's the slider thing for the clutch ahead. Spark plug wires, and then this is the plate that you were describing. So this one was on that engine, and when we made it to the transmission, it looked all funky. The starter holes didn't line up, etc. Should probably stop banging the metal around like that so loud, shouldn't I?
Somebody did complain in the comments about it. I try to mute it, but you know.
I've been ordering so much stuff. I got 20 million names. This is from Army Jeep Parts. And there was more candy in the box.
Where is the candy?
I threw it in this box. So they sent me this. And I've ordered some other stuff from Surplus, etc. And look, this thing is pretty soaked from the years of storage. And it's covered in, I guess, some kind of preservative. I'm imagining it to be some kind of wax or grease.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't rust. So I did a little delving into it. Look at this.
Very satisfying.
Packaged 1950, what is that, 8?
54.
Wow.
I don't have on my glasses. 50 something. Wow. So I thought it looked like it was packaged in the 50s. That's so neat.
So we're going to save that little tag.
That's cool.
But the important thing is it the right one? So I don't know which side's which. Being that it's so I don't even what do we do? Do we heat this up to get all this crud off? I bought a engine gasket kit for the flathead straight 8 engine in Space Junkie, and it came in the same kind of wrapper. It was all grizzly, but fortunately it was packaged in plastic, so it looked terrible from the outside, but inside was just fine. But this is the important part. This one looked all weird. The starter didn't line up with the bell housing, and you could see it's clearly a different unit, which is awesome. That's what we're looking for. See, some of the engine bolts lined up, but the starter is clearly in the right position on the new plate. Good news. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. Doing a little research on repairing the crack in the head. It's only in the water jacket, so that's going to work out good. So it's kind of funny because last video about this, I was building motor mounts. Here we are rebuilding the motor mounts, or engine mounts, however you want to say it, because we got some notes from the viewers that the engine was offset incorrectly. So about half the work I did was revisited. I did build those shapes that match to the frame, but then I had to trim them considerably and build out the passenger side because the engine has to be offset a bit to the driver's side because of the four-wheel drive setup and the drive shaft. So follow along as we revisit old ground. The thing I was talking about when we're doing this, see, like all that extra, so I was just going to cut that off now too. Remember, I decided to change it. So what I'm trying to do is just favor it this way a little bit so I could drop it down. That way that carburetor will fit right below that. This is actually pretty hilarious. Here I go, about to put a level on the engine block. Count it down, folks. Does that look crooked to you? Looks crooked to me too. And now the plot thickens. Like they always say, if it ain't fixed, don't break it. Or use a bigger crowbar. Something like that. Shift and set. The whole thing is matching these two. Really low. Looks like someone saying it's got to come this way. I'm going to agree with them. Ay, ay, ay. Still with the crowbar, that guy. I mean, how hard is it to mount an engine? All the decisions. I think this is the point where I was like, you know what? When do we work on a Volkswagen next? What is it with this front engine? But it looks like it has to shift over. I think I just got it right here. Pick up a little dust, twist that, make it look important, and then move it over. Body. You also want, you know what I'm saying? You see it's meant to go together. I mean, that does give it a lot more room for sure.
I have high hopes right now.
Well, like, how much staring are you gonna do, bro? Does it fit or doesn't it? You haven't said a word for minutes. Still no. Does that look straight? Does it look square? Well, that looks like it's gonna fit.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
That looks like it's gonna fit. Hey. Anybody in there? There's a light in there, and you can see it's really close. But so this hood is pretty dented too, so we'll be able to push that up a little. You're looking through the headlight hole at that.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
So it's close. We can make.
Is that enough room?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You can see that the hood's all dented. So once you push that down, it's going to bring that up.
Yeah, I noticed this fender too needs to be.
So if you look at the cut here, this is on the driver's side. You can see how much I'm taking off of that engine mount. So it really is moving it over to the driver's side pretty significantly, about an inch or more. Yes. Just like that. Well, that was an afternoon. I didn't expect to have to do that, but here we are. Done did that. I lowered the engine a little bit, and in doing so realized I had to completely cut off both motor mounts and reset them. This motor plate was a little bit bent. I addressed that in the other video, so I put it back a little bit further, and then I realized that the engine block is actually offset a bit. So I followed some people's advice that chimed in on YouTube, and indeed, the engine from where it was, everybody's saying, well, it looks crooked, and it looks like it's canted over, and in fact it was. So I uncrookeded it and put it in the orientation it should be. So the gap on the firewall is now symmetrical. This motor mount is a little bit lower and closer to the frame rail significantly. And because this chassis had these holes in it that were punched in it for strength, I chose to add angle iron to completely cover those holes. You'll see on both sides. So not only did I dismount the pieces that I made, I added some strength out into the chassis and just capped it off. So that being said, it looks like almost nothing happened after a day's work, which is good news. Let's yank this out. And then we're going back to the bench for all those fresh parts we just got. Because now the rear mounts are as they should. Front mounts are as they should. Carburetor fits, hood closes. Let's address that crack and put all the accessories on. First, a good cleaning for this engine block. And a bolt in the jack. I had to take that handle off because it kept hitting the fenders.
Sounds like a good day's work.
Sometimes you got to do things twice. Again, this is my very first Jeep project ever. So I'm thinking small block Chevy, crankshaft dead down the middle, right? Nope, four-wheel drive has clearance for the front drive shaft on the passenger side of the rig. Live and learn. That's why we asked some of the Jeep pros, because they know their business.
I'm just stoked that we do not have to cut a hole in the Jeep body.
Nope.
And we don't have to adapt or do anything. That's the carburetor, right? That fits on the top that we were having the issue with.
First, the valve cover, that just cleared, and the carburetor now, it's going to need one of those little hats that goes on and puts the air filter to the side, but that ain't no sweat compared to what we just accomplished.
I'm so stoked.
We're heading to the next event.
Yes.
Yeah, now that this is going to be free, it's going to go to the parts washer, get fully cleansed. And I don't know, maybe I'll ask a couple friends if they want to pull that crank out and just check out the bearings, but I don't want to get into that. It might come back freshened up. We're going to find out. The cool thing is that motor plate, again, I dabble in between engine and motor with every statement, but the plate that goes between the bell housing and the block, I'm excited to check that out and see what that does in comparison to the one that was there. Because almost all the accessories for the engine are here now. So this should just pop right out. And you can get a good look at what happened inside for all the welding, etc.
Those motor mounts look clean.
They're fresh. Again, like with prototypes, you'll see a lot of ideas and missteps, and that's what these motor mounts were. A prototype, because I never did this before. If I had to make it again, I would improve on that design, but I don't see another Jeep in my near future. We'll find out. That's what I said about Volkswagens. Oh, one Volkswagen is enough for everybody, right? Actually, I have Jeeps lined up around the block. All right, next stop is Saginaw Steering Town. We're gonna figure out this whole linkage. See all the complexity? The box is gonna mount here with a cross steer scenario. So as soon as parts get in, we're on to the next. But you see what happened all afternoon. Zephyr, what? Sorry, I get scattered like that. That's why I have so many projects. Roll-off truck, Chevy, Bug, Jeep, Zephyr, Cadillac. Can you have enough? I think not. Oh yeah, the dune buggy, your buggy, the mini bike, the mini trike, the big Volkswagen trike in the back, the art car, the list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
How does it end? Find out next time. I just had a bit of an epiphany. So your cylinder head is here in the vehicle, right? And then the carburetor is on here. And we don't want to cut a hole in the hood for the air filter. What's my favorite thing? Volkswagen parts?
I already know the answer.
Of course, because we just discussed this. Type 3 Volkswagen. Look at this. I mean, we're not going to suck cobwebs in, but this goes on the carburetor of the Type 3 station wagon. Boom. We make a manifold, air filter right there. The deal is done.
You always have to have a little Volkswagen in every project.
A little Volkswagen. Look at that low profile. Jeep guys, get yourself some Volkswagens. It's going to be awesome.